Okay. So, sorry. Okay. This is Jade Swarbrick, and this is a video of a dietary habits consultation recorded on the 12th of July. So, Chris, thank you for your time today. I know we've caught up in the past, and you've mentioned that you would benefit from a dietary consultation. So, just to explain my scope to you, I am a exercise professional. So the way that I can help you with your diet is predominantly around general advice in line with the Australian dietary guidelines. So only accredited practicing dietitians can provide you with a meal plan, which I'm not able to do. However, I can support you in how you can make your diet a little more healthy in line with those guidelines. So what I'm going to do is just take you through what the Australian dietary guidelines are, and then we can chat through what your diet is like, and then if we need to put into place any strategies to maybe make your diet a little bit more healthy in line with the guidelines. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's helpful.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen with you now. Just to pull up the Australian dietary guidelines, because sometimes it's a bit easier to see it rather than just get it read to you. So I'll just talk you through the guidelines in the top level, and then we'll get into, I guess, a bit more about you. So guideline number 1, straightforward, particularly around maintaining a healthy weight, eating healthily, and as you get into older age, eating more nutritious foods to maintain muscle strength, bone and weight. Guideline 2 is the main piece that you'll have heard about, where it's around the serves of fruit, veggies and meat, and the 5 and 2 servings, these kinds of things. We'll go through that in a lot more detail in this session. And then the guideline 3 is around limiting discretionary food choices, so like saturated fats, sugar, alcohol, that kind of thing. Guideline 4, probably less relevant for you, but about encouraging and promoting breastfeeding. And then and then guideline 5 is around caring for food and preparing and storing safely. So seems intuitive, but still important that we keep that in mind. So what we're going to talk mostly about today is about this page, which is the servings of foods, which is the guideline 2. So as you can see here, we've got our 5 food groups, which you've probably heard of. It used to be the pyramid. This is a bit more of an updated version of that, where it's got veggies, fruit, grains, lean meats, and milk. Is that big enough for you? Do you want me to zoom in a bit?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Perfect. And then in this green section here, you can see the servings per age group. So obviously you're a man, 51 to 70, so you can see what your recommended serves should be. But obviously completely okay if you're over or under any of those, and that's what we can chat about today. So feel free to be as open and honest about what your typical intake is, and then we can discuss some strategies. So because we're over video chat, I will be filling in, just for your context, it's just a little questionnaire that we have, and it just has, by food group, how many serves you're eating. So super straightforward, and we can start going through that now if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yep.
Awesome. Okay, so do you have a dietary goal in particular? So I know in the past you've mentioned, weight loss and fitness. Is that still your key motivation for eating more healthily, or how would you frame that?
Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, once you're not doing exercise, you feel that everything you consume, if it's the wrong thing, is a waste of time, I suppose, or going against what you're supposed to be doing exercise-wise. So that was the main the main sort of motivator for me changing my diet ages ago. Although there are still a few bad habits that still creep in every now and then, but generally speaking, I eat a lot better than what I ever used to.
Okay, perfect. And just digging back into that weight loss goal, was your original goal, remind me, was it around about 5 kilos by the end of the year to be lost, or is that changed or updated, just so I know where you're at?
That's still pretty much the primary goal, yeah. Well, I suppose it's still got 6 months to go. 5 kilos is not a lot to lose in 6 months. So I could probably improve on that, but I'd like to start there anyway.
Yeah, it's good to have a accessible, like, practical goal, and then if you smash that earlier, you can always work from there. So that's probably a healthy way to approach it.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. And do you have any dietary requirements or anything to keep in mind in terms of your overall diet before we begin? No, I haven't got any requirements, no. Perfect. Easy then. Cool. All right, so starting with the exciting one, vegetables. So thinking about a typical day or a typical week, so when you're at work, you're in a routine, how many serves do you think you're having per day? So keeping in mind the cups amounts. I know it's hard, like,
if I could, the holes in my diet really are I don't have breakfast because I start quite early in the morning. Having breakfast at home is disruptive to mum. So I generally skip breakfast and have morning tea. I do have we as you know, Mum and I are on that Hello Fresh, so we're eating like really good produce and really good vegetables at night. Yeah. During the day, I don't have a lot of vegetables, no.
Yeah.
But what I do have is I have yogurt at morning tea or porridge, depending on if it's summer or winter. So I have yogurt at morning tea, and then I have one of those rice and chicken satay packs. I have either like that, and just sort of water throughout the day, 2 cups of coffee, and that's sort of pretty much it. The only downside with those boxes are I probably should get like some muesli bars or something, because I find at around 3 or 4 in the afternoon I am a little bit hungry after the noodle box doesn't sustain me enough throughout the day. Like generally, if I'm working really hard, I'll have one of those satay boxes, and then I'll have a cold tin of spaghetti beside that. So I usually have a cold tin of spaghetti as well if I'm really hungry. Yeah. And I probably should be having more fruit. I don't have fruit at all.
Okay, cool. So fruit, pretty much none, yeah. So how would you estimate, I know you're only eating vegetables at dinner, would that be, looking at like how many cups, would you say that it'd be maybe a cup of vegetables or a cup and a half, or what would your estimation kind of be on, again, a typical?
I think looking at the Hello Fresh stuff and what's contained in the actual recipe, I reckon at least 2 cups of veggies.
2 cups.
Like there's always beans, there's always carrots, it's good. Okay. Yeah, heaps of veggies.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. Okay, you mentioned no fruit, which is fine. And then breads and cereals. So I know you mentioned there that you'll have often rice at lunch, potentially spaghetti in the afternoon. Do you have, how would you estimate your amount of grains that you're eating? So keep in mind with serves, they're actually quite small, like one slice of bread's a serve, so.
It'd be low. The only time I normally have bread of any kind is generally on the weekend. I do like muffins, and I'll have that on the weekend, but during the week I don't have bread at all, really. Yeah. And cereals, again, like grains, not a lot of cereal. Yeah. I might have, if I do, I'd have wheat bix, but that'd be on the odd occasion, but it wouldn't be, that'd be more the exception than the rule, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. And what about, so with your rice that you're often having, with the lunch that the rice you're often having at lunch, would that be like probably a cup of rice, or a bit more, or it's kind of hard?
Yeah, I think it probably wouldn't be a whole cup, but it'd be close to it.
Okay.
Like,
Perfect.
you know, one of those, the satay boxes.
Yep.
So yeah, that'd probably be half to 3/4 of a cup, I'm guessing.
Perfect. And then you said you're on HelloFresh, do they often have like a pasta or a rice or a bread or any kind of component with them, or is it more meat and veggies?
Yeah. Sometimes they do have the pasta, but again, that's probably maybe 1 or 2 recipes a week. It wouldn't be like, it's not the main makeup of that. And the meat as well. It's either meat or chicken.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool. And then looking at meat, good segue. You're having generally meat at lunch and then meat at dinner, so probably 2 times a day, is that right? Or more or less?
Yeah, or sometimes I'll have like a frozen meal, like those lean cuisine. I like the lean cuisine spaghetti bolognese, for example.
Yeah.
So it might be mixed, or it might be chicken, or it might be, just cold spaghetti if I don't really feel like,
Yeah.
So yeah, I sort of mix it up and get my variety that way. Or sometimes I might have a yogurt, like I have like those Gippsland Valley vanilla yogurt. I'll have like a tub of that, and that'll last me maybe 2 days.
Okay, perfect.
And I do like yogurt, so I normally get 2 of those tubs to last me a week.
Okay, right, so you are having quite a bit of yogurt throughout the week. Perfect.
Yeah. I find I like that, and I also like spaghetti, so I'll get 2 tubs of yogurt, like the big Gippsland tub, and then I'll have maybe 3 tins of cold spaghetti. I don't heat them up at all, I just have them cold, and then I get some of those chicken satay box meals, and then some of the lean cuisine spaghetti bolognese, because I like those, they're pretty good. So I sort of mix it up that way and sort of vary it. So it might not be always that, but sometimes I might just have pasta. I might have the spaghetti and the yogurt for lunch,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. That makes perfect sense. And then just thinking about your discretionary choices, so the fun stuff, so things like chocolate, biscuits, alcohol. How many serves do you think you'd have a day on average? Is it, once, twice a day, maybe once every 2 days that you might have a scoop of ice cream or a packet of chips or something like that?
Generally, if I was to have any of that sort of stuff, I don't drink during the week at all. Only generally, I used to drink at home, but I don't now. I haven't for probably 5 or 6 years and haven't really missed it. It's only really drinking socially. So I might have a beer, or I might have a wine occasionally, but it's only very occasionally now.
Yeah.
I've got more of a sweet tooth, as you know. So it would be more chocolate, not every night, but I'd have, I wouldn't sit down and have the whole family block of chocolate, but I'd have like a line or 2 of a family block of chocolate, probably maybe one, probably once every 3 nights, I suppose. Haven't really. I don't know the last time I had ice cream, but I do. I have a thick shake or a milkshake pretty regularly. But I don't have sugar in coffee or anything like that. So I've sort of cut down in one thing, but I am getting sugar somewhere else. But not quite a lot of it. Like I don't have. I don't have full strength Coke or chocolate bars or shit at work or iced coffee or that sort of stuff. Not sort of regularly. So yeah, it's mainly if I was to fall off the wagon, it'd be either a big shake on occasion or a Coke or something like that. But yeah, nothing more than that. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, it sounds like quite a good balance then there with that. So we've got your serves of your foods. So it looks like you're actually quite close to the servings for most things, which is really good. I guess I just want to discuss how it might be possible to increase maybe some of the servings of things you might not be hitting that are beneficial. Things like particularly fruit, maybe also vegetables. Would there be space in your day to include more fruits in snacks or breakfast or dessert, any other things like that?
Fruit would be the easy one to increase because I could have that at work with minimal effort.
Yeah.
Like I could cut it and prepare it and take it to work. That's really not an issue. So that would be something that stands out to me.
Yeah.
Vegetable preparation and that sort of shit at work when I've only got half an hour for lunch, I think to me would stand out to be quite difficult. When we've got, the place I used to work, we only had 2 microwaves and we had 9 guys accessing the microwave. It becomes a shit fight to get your lunch heated up. So, and, with 9 blokes sharing it, you can imagine what the inside of the microwave looks like.
Yeah.
It looked like a microwave from Chernobyl, at the end of the week, right? So, I think, so I think the vegetable thing may be an issue during the weekday, but I reckon, there probably could be obviously room for improvement on the weekend. I think cereal intake on the weekend would also, I could also improve there, and instead of having only muffins, I could probably have like Vitabrits or something. I could have that in the morning and have breakfast on the weekend more regularly than what I do, I suppose.
Yeah.
Would be a thing. And I do love eggs too, so my egg intake is quite high. Very often I'll have, on Friday night or something, I might just have scrambled eggs or something like that. Yeah. So that's quite. Yeah, so I forgot to mention eggs. I'm just looking at them now.
Yeah, I love eggs.
Yeah. So the cereal intake could definitely be improved on the weekend, and I'd say the vegetable intake could be increased on the weekend, but I could also increase my fruit intake during the working week. That would be something that I could do.
Yeah, that's perfect. I think what you said there about substituting things like muffins or white processed grains for something like a whole grain cereal is an awesome way to substitute some things and get a great health benefit. If you can introduce fruit during the week, you'll see a huge difference, I think, with all those vitamins and minerals and good stuff. And it's interesting your weekday versus weekend diet. Completely understand it's very different throughout the week. So including more vegetables on the weekend will still overall be an awesome step towards better overall diet and health. So that's great.
Yeah, it's sort of my diet during the week is all based around time constraints because I've only got 15 minutes for morning tea and half an hour for lunch. I don't want to be dicking around for 10 minutes preparing lunch when I lose, I've only got 20 minutes to relax and eat it. And then, you know what I mean? So it's all based around throwing something in the microwave for a minute or 90 seconds and then lunch is done,
Yeah, absolutely. That convenience definitely is a challenge, so I understand that. But yeah, those few things, if you're happy to make that commitment as well, and then we can, I guess, catch up in a few weeks and see how you're going with those small changes that we've discussed.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be one thing that I could sort of work on. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I could do that. Cool.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I'll stop sharing my screen. and I can stop the recording as well. So